The environment and the country just gives so much to us as human beings, and we need to care for it. Because it's not travelling well.
Whatever happens to that country or that place, you feel it deep within your being, like in your bones.
When the country is hurting is when it needs us more than ever.
Our connection to country is really based on how we engage with it and how it engages with us. Climate change is impacting everything that we do.
Climate change is a warning for humanity to stop travelling the path that we've been on.
In order to transform the systems, we have to be brave. We need to show the voice of country and then question, what are the humans doing? When we are born, we are given what we call in my language a jaring or a totem. This is our non-human kin, so we see them as family. Who could believe that an animal or a bird or even the wind can teach us how to be good and decent human beings? For me, the totem really teaches us an ethics of care, an ethics of love, to understand that we as Indigenous people see the world holistically because it's all about balance. Seeing the world in the totality, understanding that birds, fish, lizards, snakes, they all have a right to live, and to, how do we do that in a way that is going to be sustainable and no harm.
We are custodians of our country. We have to protect all living things. We have to nurture them. Even though, yes, we may take some of those as resources, but we have to manage it in a way that is long-term sustainable, that is ecologically sustainable.
We just want country to be connected in a way that's healthy and well for the spirit of that place and the spirit for the people that interact with country. Biodiversity from a science point of view, and that's probably one of the closest terms that country can be seen as. Like, it's how everything's working together.
Connectedness is key. Connectedness brings it all together. And that's exactly how nature is. Everything's connected. When you look at Indigenous knowledge, everything is connected with everything, And that connectedness is where the truth is found.
My father did say to me back in the 1990s, he warned me that change was coming. He said to me, "Son, go out and learn all the knowledge that you can about our culture, because one day Australia is going to be asking us, the Aboriginal people, how did you survive for so many thousands of years in this country?"
We really need to be sure that when our leaders make these decisions about development on country, they are truly informed. And so one of the things is, it's not just going and clearing country, it's understanding country from a total cultural landscape perspective. Not just, we've got a sacred site there, do a little ring around it, don't go there. It's the whole system. Everything is connected.
My work on our country is all of my work. Everything I learn from our country, it is the basis of everything that I make decisions about. Our cultural role is to care for our country first. So as much as I want to help other mobs, the rest of the world, if you like, with climate change, I have a responsibility to my senior elders and to my community that whatever knowledge I have gets passed on to them first to make sure that their knowledge is strengthened for when I'm no longer here, that they basically have a reference material, if you like, to say, what would Uncle Dave do?
All of our information, all of our stories are passed down through yarning in some way, shape or form. So it's incredibly important the way we yarn with each other, the way we stay connected, the way mob come together, the way we sit together, but just being with each other, staying connected and telling stories is the power of our culture.
I am a storyteller. It is my obligation to carry on these stories and tell these stories to the next generations. So they will carry the legacy and they will be storytellers. How I am a storyteller and how my ancestors were. One man, he stayed long ago in his house. Every time he walks around the island, looking for a lady. He walked calm till he come to a house. He met this lady and they stayed together. They had a lot of kids and they stayed at a village. When you have your two house, your man house and your woman house in culture, and you got all your village house. And within your village house, you got family sitting place. And that's a sand story. Story where we talk with sand. And it signifies men's business, woman's business. How stories are passed down orally, through art, through dance. Our stories are preserved in songs. Songs about the clouds, about the sky, about the heavens, about the winds, about the sea, about the land, about the flora and fauna, and the marine life. And we use the bosom of the land, to decorate and tell stories. The design don't have a start, it doesn't have an end, meaning that this story is forever. And the principle stays today. What has been taught in these circles is still being taught today. From ancestors come now.
Indigenous people, First Nations people, Native people around the world have been amazing custodians. They've held the lands, they've held the waters, but we are holding it under duress. Many of us, particularly even in Australia, live in fourth world conditions in a lucky country and a fair go for all. We really need to understand this ancient wisdom, this Indigenous science.
I don't think that we'll be able to reach the answers around climate without having Indigenous science and Western science work together. One method of creating knowledge isn't going to be able to hold all the answers to the universe. And that's the case in this instance with climate change. And so I think it's like being able to understand when Indigenous science is needed, when Western science is needed, and the instances where they're both needed to work together.
The work that we're doing is really bringing those two systems thinking in together to show that there is a huge benefit by understanding Indigenous science, Indigenous knowledge, local knowledge, and how do we factor that into planning, development, and economic development.
Indigenous science is allowed to exist in its own merit and it's allowed to provide answers by itself. It doesn't always have to be attached to a Western methodology or a Western system. It doesn't always have to make sense to you. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges, but I think if we are able to do that, that's where like some of the magic will be able to happen in regards to like coming up with these climate solutions.
Use the knowledge that Aboriginal people have. Stop ignoring it. Stop trying to disprove it. Stop devaluing it. And if you don't trust it, then test it. Allow us to practice it and then test it. And I think you'll be surprised at the results you're going to get.
One of the things I've been able to do is work with a very senior bureaucrat in the Department of Environment, Water and Regulation to fund a 3-year study looking at how are West Kimberley traditional owners going to adapt to climate change. And so part of that was, one, building a relationship of trust within the department, them funding us and believing that this is an experiment. And so part of that conversation is my reflection of how we govern this watershed from the beginning of time. And that was from a bicultural perspective. So we are bringing West Kimberley traditional owners together to understand what the system is doing, what it means, and also to look at how can that bicultural framework fit into much bioregional framework. How can we bring our systems thinking around water allocation, water planning in the construct of climate change? How do we bring water, climate, justice together so that we can look at alternative economies as well? But to have the debate, build trust, put all the issues on the table, and people in the region making a decision about what is just development on just terms.
Looking after the land and doing things the right way is the easy part. It's people that have caused this mess. And so the first thing that we need to be doing is healing ourselves before we can heal the planet. Regardless of who you are, whether you're Indigenous, whether you're non-Indigenous, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, everyone needs to have a good look at themselves, and everyone needs to get into the field of connectedness in a way that heals humanity.
It's all of us. We as Indigenous people, we come from a world of we, a holistic society. How do we come together, look at all these amazing assets that are around us and think about how we can have a good life, a full life? We do need some form of economics because we're living in a capitalist system. We need some form of trade. But the work that we are doing in the Kimberley is looking at, can we slow this down and show you that it can be a different story to business as usual? We're sitting on the Fitzroy River today, and we have just recently created a 30-kilometre walk to walk people through this place, to get them to feel it, to understand that the Murrawombie of the Fitzroy River, it belongs to fellow Australians. It belongs to young people not born yet, Indigenous and not. And so we want to preserve these amazing places. We want to show that there's an alternative economic paradigm. We call it the forever economies, or the economics of well-being. And so we are building up a very strong case to say that, can we have a pause? Can we look at how sustainable development can happen in the Kimberley? Not just sustainable development, but a way to sustain our lifeways and share this amazing place, not just with fellow Australians, but indeed the world.
We love this photo. It's one of our favourite photos. It's from our Indigenous Desert Alliance conference. It's the biggest ranger get-together in Australia. And this picture for us sums up, the power of the alliance, the membership, that all of us are together, coming together. And it's an opportunity for everyone to talk a little bit about the work they're doing out in the country. There's such a beautiful connectedness with rangers and Desert Mob that there is no boundaries or state lines for us. We're really good at collaborating and working together, making sure that we share those successful stories. Protecting a little animal that might be really significant, removing buffel grass from particular areas, or more increased management of those type of invasive species, how we're involving technology into maintaining country. There's just so many stories about that good work that's going on that rangers just love doing. There's that beautiful pride in that of caring for country and being known as a ranger.
We don't own the land, we belong to the land, and that's quite simply true out here. We're currently sitting on Gurindji land here, Gurindji Outstation. We're quite thankful that my mum, my sister and my uncle lives out here full time. So therefore, that's allowed ownership and protection of our country. My name is Anthony Baker. My Aboriginal name is Ngayawuru. I come from, my father's side, of the family is Gurindji and Garawa. Also my mum's Garawa, Jingli and Mudba. I got to grow up out here, just learning about the country that was handed back to us. Just getting to know where our traditional sites are, how they've come to be, and then how to protect them as well.
We always come back here. This is home. The weather patterns have changed. I think for our old people, it's very, very stressful because they know about climate change. Because our old people have taught us, how to do things, we can rely on their knowledge. That knowledge allows us to understand that, okay, country will come back from some things, but not all of it.
When I do come back on the land, I'm a Jungai. That's a male role where I go out and see if any legal activity's been done on the land, any pastoralists or mining companies, or even just tourists or just general people of the public, go into those areas and making sure that they don't destroy any of it. So all the sacred sites are protected. Our land is our identity and belonging. So we lose that, we lose ourselves, we lose everything.
Even though climate change has impacted on country and it's encroaching and we can physically see the change and the shifts, rangers are working really, really hard, and we owe it to them to support the work that they're doing to make sure that their stories are always told.
You've got to have heart. You've got to be in it for the love of country, not just community. And for a lot of us, we grew up in the community. We've seen the changes, the change in the seasons. So the work that we do is because we're passionate about caring for country and looking after what's left. Looking after waterways, it's everybody's responsibility. We have boats that come and go, taking resources from mining. We have people that come in with fishing. So, and everything that gets dumped in the water, or just being able to keep our oceans and river systems clean. It's everyone's responsibility, not just ours as rangers. We only can do so much. At the end of the day, all of this here doesn't wash up on its own. It's getting thrown out somewhere. What people can learn from First Nations people is listening. It's a privilege for us as rangers coming out on country, being able to share that with not only First Nations people but non-Indigenous people. We have people here in the community that love coming here. We all play a part in caring for country. It's not just rangers. If you don't care for country, you won't be able to enjoy the benefits.
There are people who are recognising, myself and other elders, that do have inherent knowledge, do have inherent values about what we want to see on our country. There are people that are listening who are asking for our advice, who are partnering with us. That's an important step about moving towards what I call walking together.
The challenge for humanity is to realign themselves with nature again. Then you get a magical outcome. And that magical outcome is prosperity, health, well-being.
The knowledge that we share, as desert people and as rangers, we always want to share and bring people along on the journey. The work that rangers are doing are not just for themselves, but for everyone as well.
collective action comes through the choices we're making and making sure that the choices are the better options for climate. Why are we not caring and nurturing for our planet? It sustains us, it gives us life. Without it, what are we? Like, why are we destroying the very thing that we need to survive? And why do we not care more about that?
When I close my eyes and I listen to all the different elders that I've spoken to, the one thing that shines the most is that ability for elders to get the younger generations involved. Because it's where the solutions are to keep up with the important work of healing landscapes forevermore.
Teach your kids now, like, what country has to offer. Coming away and getting lost out here and sharing that we're not Indigenous and non-Indigenous, we're all one community. This area is home for everyone.
Regardless what nationality you are or where you're from. And it is for you guys. I would love to be up in the heavens and looking down and smile that to see the world, the generations and the generations after and the generations after them won't learn about these things in history class, but they will learn firsthand.
There is so much to learn. Because as soon as you think you know it all, it will change. The list is endless of all the things that we need to turn back before we can call this our country the way it was, in the way that the ancestors wanted to leave it for us. I believe we can get there, but we're not going to do it in my generation. It is passing on that responsibility of custodianship to the next generation, that it is their country.